Hello and welcome everyone to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my good friends and GVG co-founders Ash Paulson and Steve Bowling, sorry I almost slipped up there, along with our very special... Who the hell are you again? I forget. Anyway, this guy, along with our very special guest, KuroSixx Plays, aka Kat. How you doing, Kat?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing okay.
We were just talking before we got the show started about your absolute love of Monster Hunter Rise so far, and you've definitely been you ordered yourself a Pro Controller for the first time just because of this game.
Yes, I did. That is accurate. I'm using. I was saying this before, but I'm using a PS4 controller that I had to use an adapter for because I refuse to use the Joy-Cons. Like, absolutely.
Sure.
Way too kind of like weird.
Do you play in handheld mode at all, or just stick with television?
I have played handheld a little bit, but I mainly stick with television, just because I like it on a big screen. So. I
mean, that's how I was with Xenoblade. So I was like, yeah, I could play it on handheld, but I got this nice big TV that I really want to use.
Exactly.
Yeah. There are certain games where I'll go out of my way to have that big screen experience as much as I can, even though I technically can play, handheld. Like Breath of the Wild, for example. I played, 10 hours of it on handheld, but that's the kind of game you really want to have that grandiosity for, right? It's just, you really want that big screen experience. Same thing with Monster Hunter, I would imagine.
Exactly. It's a little more immersive, too, I think, for me personally. And just loving the game so much, I want, as much of it in my field of vision as possible. So.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure how much you've played so far, but I got to ask the tough question. Rise or World?
So far, Rise, but...
Wow.
For the specific weapon that I do, I am a hammer main. I sometimes do hunting horn and longsword. But I liked World's mechanics for hammer better so far. I think it's also just kind of like a learning curve because they've changed the way that the attacks and mechanics in the game work. So I was a little kind of not put off, but it was just new when my muscle memory wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing with certain moves. So, yeah. And
I'm sure that's not helping when you have a PS4 controller in your hand. It's like, oh, I'm playing World.
Yeah, basically. And also when all of the prompts are the Joy-Con buttons, and I'm like, A is circle, I think. X is B, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to check out Rise. I've never really been able to get into Monster Hunter proper. I did play the demo, and it was pretty cool, but I just have never really had that team experience in Monster Hunter. I've never really had a group of friends to really, really dive into it with. And I know that there are, a bunch of people that I could play it with. I think I just haven't quite had the right experience with Monster Hunter yet. And I'm certainly willing to still have it, because obviously it's massively popular for a reason. But then there's also the fact that it's just one of those games where you can sink hundreds of hours into it. And where am I going to find that kind of time on top of everything else I'm playing? So I do have interest. It's just a matter of how do I make the time to get into it,
It's a weird thing of what do you prioritize? And that's some people it's easy.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, Rise. I took off work to play Rise. I'm considering calling in sick for work until next week to play Rise. That kind of thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, and
I don't feel good.
It's a technical game, I think, but I think it's if you are with people, it is easier to pick up. So, for me, I actually would fall off sometimes. I fell off of World for a while because I was only soloing everything, and it was a little bit tough to keep going when I didn't have that support or that in-game sort of group mentality. It's always nice to be on a voice call with people when they're like, yeah, you can do it, or hey, I'm going over here and I'm going to do this. So don't worry about it. Or you can say, hey, I'm about to die. And somebody's like, I got you. Don't worry. So
it would, I would have to have that kind of I need to be on voice chat, and it would have to be that kind of, for sure. It's just a matter of, finding the time to do it. But I would really like to explore what makes Monster Hunter so appealing to so many people.
Well, if you need someone to show you the ropes, hit me up.
You would have to carry me
passionate
completely. Gotcha. Oh, I can tell for sure.
I do have to say, I've been playing the game lately, and I'm not at all what I would call a Monster Hunter fan, and I'm really, really enjoying Rise. It is definitely very... I would say... Because I've probably dabbled with most of the Monster Hunter series. Like, I've bought them because I understand people love them, and there's always at least one friend in my life that's like, yo, you got to get this, you got to play it, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't work for me. But I picked up Rise strictly because I want to do a video on Rise with Brandon, who's working on our review, because, you know, he's our resident Monster Hunter expert. So I thought it'd be fun to do like a, you know, somebody who has never clicked with the series versus a super fan, and then come together and discuss our opinions. But damn, I am really liking this game. I think that I love the setting, like the feudal Japanese type of setting really helps it out, because that's a setting that I inherently just enjoy. And the wire bug is so damn cool. Like, I love traversal in this game. It's one of those things where it incentivizes me to explore the area so much more than I ever have in any other game. Like, I legit was hyped about finding mushrooms the other day. Like, I had a quest that was like, find 8 mushrooms, and I'm like, I bet they're going to be up high, aren't they? And they were, and it was so satisfying. Because, like, you can use the wire bug to, like, zip to a wall run up the wall, then jump off, then wire bug again, and it feels, like, so damn good when you do it. Like, it makes you feel like you're really badass from the start.
I'm so bad at the wire bugs, so I'm still trying, but a lot of times it's me kind of, like, just, like, running up and then, like, going out, like, jumping off and then trying to go back and recover and then jumping off again and then falling to not my death, but... Like,
yeah, see,
I'm starting to get a hang of it, though.
For me, and I know I'm purposely framing it this way for Ash. For me, it kind of tickles that weird kind of like Mega Man X wall jump itch. Like,
oh, really? Okay, in the 3D space?
It feels so much like a 3D implementation of that it just worked for me immediately. At least that's how I visualize it in my mind when I'm doing it, and I have very few issues with it. There's also... Oh man, I don't know what they're called. You can help me out here. Like super wire bugs or whatever that can take you to like much higher locations. Yeah, giant wire bugs. You can find them in the world out there, and they will like zip you up way higher than a normal one and take you to some place you normally, even with 3 wire bugs, couldn't get to. So it is. I mean, the platforming in this game is actually deeply satisfying, which I think adds a whole layer to this that wasn't there before.
Have you?
We know it's funny.
Oh, go ahead. You go first. Sorry.
I was going to say, you know what's funny, Steve, is that even though I haven't tried the wall jumping mechanic in Monster Hunter Rise, I'm pretty sure it's already better than Mega Man X7's implementation of it, because X7 is such a bad game. I'm sure that Monster Hunter does it better than even X7 does.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I don't think I've played X7. I
You're
probably
not
should.
missing
for the
anything. It's probably for the best. It's really bad.
I feel like I need to get the second half of the X collection on Switch just to complete the set, as it were, but...
Need is a strong word when you're talking about X5 through X7. X8's a good game, but...
I mean, I picked up the second half. I haven't played any of it, but I picked it up because why not?
Right.
Real quick, though, before we jump into the news topics themselves, because we were just talking Monster Hunter up to this point, which is no problem at all. Oh, no, that's
a good
fine.
problem to have.
Fine. It's cool to have that kind of passion for a new release and really dive into it. But we are sponsored on Mondays by the Game Orb, so thank you to them for sponsoring us, supporting us all this time. And the Game Orb is a fledgling channel focused mostly on Nintendo content. It's currently running Let's Plays of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Splatoon 2, Smash Ultimate, Super Mario 35, and more. So be sure to subscribe to the Game Orb at the link in the description, which, hey, we're getting really close. I just checked. They're at 191 subs. We are so close to getting them to 200.
Please.
Been really, really trying that. Ash, I see you typing in the document there. They're the opposites.
Yes. The opposites? Okay.
Yeah, they're swapped. Also, you just accidentally deleted them.
It's all good. All
So
good.
behind the scenes things here. But yes, we are so close to getting them to 200 subscribers and really showing them the GV Gang's support. And of course, they also want to promote their friend's YouTube channel, Galactic Reaper, who is closing in on 50 subscribers. So we'll have links to those in the description. Ash is providing links to them in the chat right now for everybody.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure everybody in chat as well. He's seen these quite a few times, but in case we have any newcomers in here, can check those out. And thank you so much once again, as always, to the Game Orb for their support.
Hell yeah.
So, let's say we get to some news, because it's been looking over the news, not a lot of good news, but it's been news.
Yeah.
All right.
But we'll start off with something a little happier, because turns out, and we'll go ahead and put this up on the screen, the tech behind Super Nintendo World's Mario Kart ride is actually kind of a video game for its developers, and IGN has, as IGN put in their story, and they also have a ton of pics of the park itself, including the food, and it just looks wonderful. But the basic thing is, it's very modular. The VR portion, the AR portion, I guess, of the Mario Kart ride. So theoretically, just looking at this, it should be very easy to, like, hey, it's Christmas, let's make Christmas themed courses, or it's this holiday, and we can do that sort of thing, because it was so. According to Senior Vice President Theory Coop, this is from the article, Mario Kart was built in a game engine. So while he was back, while this guy was back in the States, he could actually drive Mario Kart in the game engine and give them notes in Japan. And yeah, and they added that the game design means that the ride can evolve over time much more easily. Because it's in a game engine, we can keep updating, upgrading, putting new characters in, changing the themes, changing the actions on the fly. So if there's any kind of special events, anything that they want to release can be done overnight if they really want to. And that makes it so much more flexible. It freshens the experience and basically means that every time you go back, you get to see something new. And I know there were some hardcore theme park people out there, like, they added something slightly new. I gotta see it.
Yeah.
So this is,
I mean,
totally there.
I don't know that I wouldn't be one of those for a Nintendo theme park, though. Like, I would... Man, if you tell me there's an update to a Nintendo theme park, I'm like, what? 300 more bucks to go? All right. Fine.
If I must.
No,
I
I'm
won't
just looking
eat
at all
this
the
month.
pictures right now, and it's just so cool. Like, I want to go here so badly, and I want to try that Mario Kart ride, and one of these days we'll go. One of these days in the after times, we will make it there ourselves.
Is this Universal Studios Japan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I am mad at them. I want to go to this, but I went to Japan. I went to USJ. I know this is back to Monster Hunter, so I promise I will not stay on the
No,
topic.
you're fine.
I know where you're going with this.
They had a Monster Hunter theme park that I went
Really?
specifically to see, and the day I got there, they had switched it to a Minions
Oh no!
theme park. I
I am
was so
the worst.
upset.
I am so sorry, because I actually know what you're talking about, because I was there for that. I didn't go for Monster Hunter specifically, but I happened to go to Universal Studios Osaka at the same time that the Monster Hunter attraction was up, and I got to see it, and I wish it had been you instead of me. I wish it had been you instead of me. And it was really cool, but I know you would have appreciated it way
heartbreaking.
more. Yeah,
It was
I'm
so much
sorry.
pain because I was like, yeah. And then I was looking on the map. I was like, where is it? And I was like, okay, so I think it should be over this way, right? And then I went over and it was just blobs of yellow everywhere. So
And now you
you
can
want
never
something
look
to
at
hunt,
another
there you
minion
go.
again.
I can't.
I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't look at them before.
Kill.
but-
So
That
I'm mad at
sucks.
USJ right now.
Wow.
I don't blame you. That's like, especially, it doesn't matter if it's Minions or whatever. When you're going to see something specific that you can't wait to see, and it's replaced by anything, that's gonna hurt. But Minions, though, damn, that hurts.
Next
I'm sorry.
level. Next level.
That sucks.
I think that's like just even more of a kick to the teeth. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That is a
Can I just-
visceral betrayal.
Yeah, Minions are already kind of on thin ice for me anyway, because I just kind of see them as budget serve bots anyway. I've never really seen them.
Yeah,
as,
really.
You know,
Surfbots are much better anyway.
way better. Yeah.
The popularity they are over in Japan right now, though, is like insane.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know the appeal, but it's like
I don't
it's a big appeal. I
Exactly
guess.
get it. I really don't.
This food is looking good, though.
Yeah, I was just going to comment that I'm looking through the food, and dear God, do I want to try a lot of this.
Let's see.
Yeah, same.
You can't tell me there's pictures of food and have me not look at them.
I mean, I've watched a little bit of. We had him on earlier, but Peanut Butter Gamer, he just did a video on stuff he ordered from Universal Japan. Can't get any of the food, I think. He maybe got some of the snacks, but he got that little cup, that mushroom cup, the super mushroom. You take off the head and it has like a little like regular water bottle in it. It's a cool design. Then they got the bread bowl. The burgers look pretty good with the mushrooms. I'm not even a fan of mushrooms, so
same.
God, this all looks nice.
Yeah. I'm looking at some sort of
it.
question mark block parfait right now. It's like it looks like a cake. Yeah.
Is this in like the 60 pictures or where is this?
Yeah.
It's in the set of 60 pictures towards the end, and then there's another set of all the merch you can get, which includes like shirts, plushies, hats, pens, just all kinds of stuff.
I'm looking at this burger and I'm thinking that must be like a $40 burger.
I bet.
It probably is.
I mean, in Japan, yes.
And also theme park food, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know that the food looked good, though.
The Play in 1994 says Good Vibes Dining. I think we just got our first idea for a spin-off channel. Good Vibes Dining.
Starting with Steve's Chicken.
Today's food tonight, man.
Today's food tonight. I love it.
I love that.
Man.
Yeah.
Just eat dinner on streams. Like, all right, what are we eating tonight?
Yeah.
You guys are making me hungry.
It's a really good idea.
Sorry.
I'm gonna have to. First episode, we'll have to get like a mukbanger and be like, just do what you normally do, but a little less nausea-inducing, please.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Bring that up. So, in a recent interview with Hironobu Sakaguchi, he stated that Mistwalker currently has no plans to remake any of its previous games. Now, this was phrased as not interested, but that's not quite how it really seems. It's not that they're not interested in it. It's just that, well, if they're going to be doing a remake, the amount of effort and resources it would command means the difference is basically nil between developing a remake versus a completely new game. So he finds himself more attracted to the idea of coming up with something original rather than remaking something they've done before. And so that's why they haven't really looked at like re-releasing or remastering Blue Dragon or Last Story or what was the other one?
Lost Odyssey.
Lost Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's the other big one.
Yeah.
I still need to play that.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say, is that this is a damn shame. Even though I get where Sakaguchi's coming from, I've always heard that Lost Odyssey is fantastic, and I never got to play it back on Xbox 360, so I wish I could revisit it today, or at least, in the present, but that doesn't seem to be on the table.
I hear so many people say that Lost Odyssey is like the true Final Fantasy, either 12 or 13. I forget which one they say, but...
And I've heard it's just incredibly sad. I've heard it's like a really tragic story, like genuinely tragic, that it really drives that knife in and twists it multiple times. But in a good way.
Sticks with you.
Right? Yeah. Huh?
Oh, I said it sticks with you.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Does it?
Yeah.
Have you played it?
I played part of it, but I didn't
Okay.
end up finishing it.
Gotcha.
Same.
It
It
was
was
very long.
Lost Odyssey
Yeah.
was the RPG that made me realize I don't have a ton of time for RPGs anymore. I got into it and I was just like, this game is so long. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever going to finish this. I think I still have my 360 copy of that game, but
I do too.
that and Blue Dragon didn't really click for me.
I didn't hear great things about Blue Dragon.
Yeah, I picked
Yeah, I
up Blue
heard it was
Dragon
okay.
just because I was like, oh, Sakaguchi and Toriyama art, like this could be really great, and it wasn't. So,
Yeah.
Man, it strikes me as odd that you're saying. I just looked up how long to beat for Lost Odyssey just to see like how long it must be. It's like, man, how long is this game? And according to them, the main story is just 50 and a half hours, which I'm like, that's only half of a Persona. So
I can't find Persona.
Steve, come on.
Just dig up 100 hours,
It's so hard. Yeah.
It really is. I find myself drawn more towards tighter, like shorter narratives these days. And I think it's just because, one, there's so many damn things to play, and I feel like it's... I mean, don't get me wrong. A game that really gets its hooks into me, I will find a way to find that 100 hours or whatever. But it's really difficult if I go in knowing that that's the minimum commitment. If I go in and being like, oh,
yeah,
well,
me too.
Love it or not,
I'm
this
the
is
same
100
way.
hours.
100%, yeah. And that's
just-
why I
yeah.
think I like indie games too, like a shorter indie games. Like, there's so many good ones, and a lot of them are under 10 hours. And I'm like, yes, this is perfect. This is a
Totally.
well-rounded short story that I love.
Totally agree with you. More than ever, I appreciate games that have shorter experiences. 10 to 20 hours. That that doesn't mean I don't still appreciate the really long form ones. I mean, if I had all the time in the world, I'd play so many more JRPGs than I do. And as Steve was saying, regardless, even if I don't have a lot of time, if I find a game that really is that good, I'll make time for it. Like I am for Yakuza 7. Like I know that game is long. Doesn't matter. I'm going to finish it because this game is incredible. But I wish I had more time because there are so many more JRPGs I would play had I just the time. It's just time.
It's funny that you mentioned indie games. The last two indie games I've played are all really long, apparently, because
Really?
Hades... Well, not really long, but Hades was longer than I expected just because of the nature of getting the true ending. And then I'm playing Hollow Knight, and that one's also surprisingly lengthy. So, man, I keep finding the long indie games, not the short ones. What the heck?
Yeah. Romsky113 asks, did I ever finish Last of Us Part 2? No, I'm close to the end, and I'm still going to finish it.
You've been close to the end for the last few times just because you've been so absorbed by Yakuza.
Well, that, and also, I'm getting older, and sometimes, by the time I've spent,
The mind goes,
time,
you forget.
Right. Well, I'll spend time with my wife, and then I'll be in the back end for, an hour and a half, getting the next episode of TNT ready in the back end, and then I'm tired, and I just fall asleep. So it's hard to,
The thing Ash isn't telling you is that it's 3:53 a.m. Like any reasonable person should be tired.
Well, part of it is that I'll hang out with my wife until 12 or 12:30, and then I got to go into the back end, and then occasionally I'll be done closer to 4 a.m., but usually it's closer to 2:30. 3 and then you don't want to start.
Yeah, that's much better.
I know.
Well, no, that's my point. That's my point. Is I don't then I'm not really in the mood to go play something as heavy as Last of Us Part 2 right before I inevitably fall asleep and go to bed.
If I'm up at 2:30 in the morning, it's because one of my kids peed in their bed. That's the only reason I'm awake at that time anymore.
Yeah,
I'm angrily changing sheets and waiting for a minute to go back to sleep.
Yeah. A lot of my nights have been spent on Final Fantasy 14 just because it's that's when I finally have a chance to play it. I get to play with Amy a little bit. It's okay, cool. And again, it's that game is huge as well. There is I don't even know how many hours I've put into that game already, but it's so oh cool, I accomplished this little bit today, and I'm still interested and can keep going. So it's just you kind of forget about the time commitment at that point.
Yeah, if I don't play late at night, then I'm not playing games because between the daytime when I'm either working or then the evening I'm spending time with my wife, I don't really have free time until late at night. So that's kind of when I have to play, and when I'm too tired, I know the end of this game is going to be amazing. It's going to be traumatic, but it's going to be amazing, and I want to be fully awake for it. I don't want to be falling asleep as I'm finishing this amazing game. Although it is way too long. If there is a game that is too long, in my opinion, it is Last of Us Part 2. It could be a little shorter. It could be a little shorter.
But I'd welcome some Mistwalker remakes because they do think they have some solid titles under their belt. But then they had a really good Japanese exclusive. What was it? DS game? Soma Breaker? I heard nothing good about that. Nothing but good things about that game, and it's a shame it never got localized because I felt like that was their one real breakout, everybody agrees is amazing game. But oh well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get our next story up. And who's ready to be angry? It's Sony. Again for the same thing. All right, so Sony has officially announced the end of its old stores, and before this happened, they quietly pulled the old web version of their PlayStation Store that allowed purchases of PS3, PSP, and Vita content. And yep, basically all that stuff that we reported on before, That is the case. It is going to be gone by this summer. Basically, the PlayStation 3 and PSP store will close on July 2nd, while the Vita store will close on August 27th. You can still read down and previously purchased content and games redeemed through PlayStation Plus, but no more actual purchases and no more in-game purchases. So it looks like you can still get the games if you don't have them on your system anymore, but you can't actually purchase anything more. So
That just, I mean, well,
Physical copies, the way to go.
Yeah,
right.
Well, yeah. And that's a problem with these because it's the the PS3 and PSP and all that. You get a lot of old PS1 and PS2 games as well.
Yep,
those are expensive.
Yes, exactly.
I'd love to have a physical copy of The Misadventures of Tron Bonne. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
But then they complain about like emulators and like
Exactly.
piracy, and they're like, "Don't play these. You can buy them, but you can't buy them. Like,
Can't buy them
unless it's for a physical copy for like $125 or something like that, or more, depending on what the game is."
Yeah.
I mean, tells me that people are really going to figure out emulators for PS3, PSP, Vita, and so forth to just really make this happen.
The irony of games, old games that are worth a lot of money now, is that the vast majority of those games are only rare because people didn't think they were worth the MSRP when they came out. So it's like Sony was like, "Here's your game. It's $49.99," and everyone's like, "That sucks. I don't want to buy that." And now that same game is hundreds of dollars because there's only a few thousand of them out there because the rest of them got recalled or returned or whatever. And Sony probably lit them on fire while laughing maniacally about this exact plan. They're like, 20 years from now, we'll get our revenge.
I mean, what else can be said about this? We definitely talked about it a lot last week and about how, upset we all are about this and how, anti-preservation the game industry specifically seems to be. And it just sucks. I mean, at least before we were talking about it, it's kind of theoretical. Like, this is what we've heard. That's the rumor.
Maybe Sony will hear all the complaints and not do this. That was what I was holding out for, but
now it's real and it hurts even more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only right move, and no one's doing it, literally nobody, would be to, like I said last episode, write emulators for these systems and make them available on the PS5. You know what? If they said, "Hey, we're shutting down these stores, but these games will be available for purchase now on PlayStation 5," I wouldn't be that mad. I'd be like, okay, I can play them on new hardware, and I get that that's where Sony wants me to be, is on their latest and greatest thing, and not on a Vita or a PSP or a PS3. But they're not going to do that. they're not going to give us a legal way of getting these beloved games, and that just sucks. Like, I would happily give them my money for these, and I probably will, like, in the next couple of weeks, actually dig out my crap and go buy these games.
It's time to pull out the wish lists and see what we didn't get yet.
Yeah. Freedom Wars, I've always wanted to play on the Vita. I guess I'm going to do that really soon. So, it's unfortunate. I think that this is super, super short-sighted of Sony, and, I mean, I think while they are deserving of the heat they're getting, we should also remember that this is no worse than what Nintendo and Microsoft are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, just because Sony's like being out and public with it doesn't mean that Nintendo and Microsoft don't pull this same garbage. And, Microsoft, I don't know how they've managed this, but they've convinced everyone they're so backwards compatible friendly. They support 30 original Xbox games, and that's it. They're 30 out of 700, and they're like, we support all generations. We're Microsoft.
We got your back.
I'm like, that's really
trying to spin those sales.
Yeah, that is like a misleading Tinder profile move. It is impressive. They found the slimiest guy in their office, and they're like, "How would you spin this, Brad?" Because it's definitely a Brad. And he's like, "I know just the thing." So anyway, I'm just saying everyone deserves ire for this, but Sony, I don't know. Maybe somebody, hopefully somebody, just let us play your old games. We will buy them if you let us. Just let us buy them.
I think this is a good opportunity for some of these.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity for a lot of these companies to look at that time frame and be like, okay, let's do re-releases and stuff like that. And
how many trees does Mr. Beast have to plant for us to get old games on new systems?
Right. But Steve, didn't you forget, or did you forget? Jim Ryan has already told you that you don't want to play old games. They're old. They're ugly. You don't want to play those. He's already decided that for you.
That is up there with Wii era Nintendo telling us we don't want to play video games online. They're like, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
But I do want to actually address this comment by Ditto M. Not defending the practice, but shouldn't people have already bought the PS3 and PSP games that they were interested in by now? It's been like 15 years. And that is a good point that people bring up. Here's the kind of counterpoint to that. Let's say, you're not aware of these games. You don't know. You don't have a PS3, or even if you do have a PS3, you're not really looked. Because there's a lot of games on there, and it's hard to find them. The other end, hey, YouTube's a resource. There's a lot of great creators out there telling you about old games. And let's say one of them talks about this one PS3 game that's really good, but also really expensive. But you can get it on the PlayStation Store, the PSN, for only $10. Nice steal for this really great game that you never heard of before. Now you can't do that. And I think that's the thing. There's always somebody new discovering those old things, and that's what we're losing when it comes to this. And it's happening for me right now because, for my streaming channel, I have game requests that people can do once they earn enough channel points. Somebody requested God Hand. I looked up God Hand. It is very expensive on PS2 if you're going for the original copy, but it's only $10 on the PS3. So that's what I'm going to be picking that game up relatively soon. It's one of those things where you're just...
Yeah.
It's there when you need it, and now we don't.
And additionally, too... Oh, sorry. You
go ahead.
Please, go ahead.
Like, for replay value, for example, like, I have had, like, old games that I've played with people that are digital downloads, and, like, I know that I'll be able to kind of play those and stuff, but, like, for example, if you have experienced a game with somebody, like, at someone's house on the PS3 or the PS2 or whatever... and it was a really nice time. And then you think about it later and you're like, I want to play that. Like, I want to go back. You can't. And that's it. You have to track down that friend and play it with them or buy a physical copy for $500. So,
right.
Yeah.
And also, as Joseph Rutkin was saying in the chat, I was kind of thinking this as well. What about new gamers that want to go back? People who literally weren't alive when the PS3 and the PSP and Vita were current. What if they are gaming enthusiasts who don't just want to play the newest stuff. They want to go back and see what got us to where we are today. And not only that, what about people who maybe had fallen on hard times, didn't have a whole lot of disposable income during those generations of gaming, who would have liked to buy more games, but they just literally couldn't. But now maybe they're doing way better and can afford to buy some of those old games, but now they can't. It's just it's a preservation thing, and it's just it is. There is something to say, but why people have had so long to buy these games already. But I don't think it's quite that simple, as Derek was saying, and there are other angles to it.
I want to draw an analogy here, just because I think it'll help some folks that maybe oppose this or don't think it's a big deal to understand. Like, imagine a company that was fully electronic, right? Just everything, speed of light records when you needed them. And then they said, hey guys, we're making a huge move. It's really innovative. We're going to print everything out and store it in filing cabinets forever. And that's the only way you can get them. And there'll only be one copy. Like, it is the most backwards business decision in the world. And for people, the common refrain from corporations when they do this is it's just not sustainable from a cost standpoint. And that is a lie. That is, it costs next to nothing to maintain these services. The biggest cost is bringing them up and taking them down. Everything in the middle, comparatively, is ridiculously cheap. And in this day and age, I guarantee you that Sony's PSN shop for PS3, Vita, and PSP is not on an actual physical server that someone has to maintain and repair. It's on a virtual server that literally is just one of hundreds, if not thousands, that they have for use for PSN. And so they're literally just like, we don't care about these anymore, so we want to turn them off. And that's really what it is. And the absurdity of it is, if you're able to re-download those games still, that means those servers are still on, so they're not even doing it to save money.
Yeah, they just like, we're just going to push them to buy new stuff.
It really is just a move to push the consumer to a newer thing. And I hate to tell you, but the guy that's still playing his PS3 in 2021 isn't going to buy a PlayStation 5 because you turned the PSN off. He's not going to. Nobody that is still on hardware that old is going to say, oh, well, this was the push I was waiting for. I was waiting.
Also, Ditto M, it was not a dumb question. I've seen that point brought up before. So thank you for actually making that question so I could address that aspect of it. Because it's a good, again, on the surface level, it sounds reasonable. But
it absolutely does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it led to a great discussion, though, so thank you for the question. There is, and Asbran127 already mentioned this, but there is no such thing as a dumb question.
Yep.
So, no, we really appreciate you bringing that up.
Yep. So, well, that sucked. Let's move on.
Sad news.
And it's not really getting much. Well, no, it's getting a little worse later on. But the
next one, like we're going to try some go hills here, up and down. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. So Xbox has teamed up with Hololive VTubers to market Game Pass in Japan, and you know what? Good on them. I think that's not a bad idea. It's a VTuber group branch from the Cover Corp for the Xbox Game Pass ad, and the streamer will introduce the service and probably explain that you can also play on PC and even cloud, and show some of the games that you have on Game Pass. So, any way for them to, yeah, it's cool to see Microsoft trying to break into the market again, because it really seemed like they gave up with the 360 and especially the One.
Yeah,
they tried with the 360 and gave up with the One.
I have to say, I'm playing for our patrons, our audience, the video from one of those VTubers. Damn, these models are impressive.
They really are.
I was actually just started it up and like, my God.
Yeah, they really look good, and I think this is actually a brilliant move by Microsoft. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's going to make the Xbox take off in Japan? Maybe not take off, but I do think it might help, and it definitely shows a willingness to, on Microsoft's end, to meet Japan where they are, and not just try to force the Xbox brand into the Japanese market, because we've seen how well that's gone for them.
Well, interestingly, it seems like one member of our chat, Fantasy Thinker Fan, is familiar with this specific VTuber. I guess her name is Botan. And he says that she's super popular. I mean,
is she as big as what's her name? That's always I always see clips of with her like squeaks and like she's getting really people. She has like the puppy ears.
Oh, Corone, I think.
Corone, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's when I first started hearing about VTubers. I was all of a sudden like these. I think I saw a Twitter account like Japanese girls making weird noises, and Corone was up there, and I'm like, what the heck is this? I didn't understand it at all. She's adorable, I'll say that much, because just her reaction to a lot of stuff, but it makes sense for Microsoft.
I think VTubers being so huge in Japan, I don't think we can comprehend how big they are over there. I think that's the smartest move, because you're taking advantage of something that has the largest following. You know what I mean? Currently,
right? I
feel like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean they're definitely jumping on this at just the right time to kind of parlay it into what might be an explosion of the Xbox brand in Japan, such we've never seen before. This might be Microsoft, and someone said it in the chat. Sorry, I can't find it right now. Rob Arman X said it's smart to market Game Pass and not the Xbox systems themselves. Yeah, they're pushing Game Pass, not the Xbox hardware, which historically the Japanese market does not care about. And I think they're doing a lot right with this.
Well, if we talked about this last episode, if they do land that Square Enix deal with 6 games coming to Game Pass that are supposedly relatively newer, and they're marketing to using VTubers for marketing like this, I mean, it seems like they've gotten a bit smarter than we're used to them being about the Japanese market. And that's good news. I mean, I don't pretend to understand the impact that VTubers have in Japan because I've never been, but I would I have zero doubt that they have a freaking agency, like an idol group, so that should tell you something. So I would imagine that this move alone will probably give Game Pass a decent bump in Japan, because there's definitely a subset of folks that if an idol or a VTuber recommends it, that they'll just buy whatever it is,
Oh yeah.
And I think we've all seen the cliche super fan, in some media we consume. So I think that this is probably, I don't think it's probably. It is a really, really smart move, and a culturally smart move, which is something I'm not used to seeing from Microsoft. So,
Chris Masterson actually asked, why are Xbox so desperate to enter the Japanese market? Is Japan that big of a market compared to America and Europe? Not especially, but there's still a market that you can really take off on. It's something you can grow with.
And they're still one of the three main markets too. I mean, they may not be as large volumetrically, but they're still one of the main three markets in gaming. And you, of course, want to have as much control over every market that you can, right? That's just straight up business.
Now, I think that this is a Trojan horse. I think that they want to develop an audience within Japan to woo Japanese developers, because Microsoft Xbox just doesn't have a lot of Eastern development support. But I mean, if you develop an audience in their home country, they have really no choice but to make games, right? Like, if a ton of people are on Game Pass in Japan, that'll mean big money for Japanese developers. And obviously, at the end of the day, everyone is in this to make some money. So if suddenly Xbox, by whatever means, gain a foothold in Japan, then that will kind of force the hand of Japanese developers to say, okay, I guess we're releasing Xbox versions now.
Especially because it doesn't feel like Sony's doing much with their Japanese developers. They just shuttered, the one game studio.
They're doing the opposite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're actually pulling away from the Japanese market, which is something I've seen a lot of people in their fan base say they don't like, and I'm one of them. I hate that they're pulling away from Japanese development, or at least seemingly doing so.
Yeah.
And going back to the Hololive stuff, though, as Cubino Yoko Gaming puts it, it feels very much like when Hatsune Miku debuted, and there was a huge popularity for Vocaloids. And that's exactly what it feels like, and that was something that I understood. Hololive VTubers, I'm still not quite, I think it's super cool. I'm just not quite there yet in terms of getting it, but it definitely feels like the same kind of population or popularity explosion that Vocaloids experienced.
I mean, as Evernight Studio pointed out earlier, Kurone kind of got that attention because Sir Toasty made a video of Kurone's reaction to Banjo-Kazooie, and just how she was completely taken by the Ikum Bokum line. And so it was her repeating it, and it was just really, I gotta admit, it's cute. It's really cute. Yeah. So you have that adorableness attached to that gaming bit, and you're like, you know what? Cool. And it's, I don't know, it's just, I think I can see I guess it makes it feel approachable in a way.
So I'm pretty sure someone at PlayStation is just laughing at us right now and trying to pour salt in the wound, because I actually, as we were discussing this, I just got that email from PlayStation about the store shutting down. I literally just got it now. So someone's watching and laughing at us. Yeah.
But we'll see if it works out for Xbox. I'm curious, but it's smart. Feels smart anyway.
It's definitely smart. And one thing I want to say, because we did have Fushi on as a VTuber, I'm really impressed to see just how detailed these models can get. You know, Fushi with a little bit of work had made hers look really great and really detailed, but obviously these ones with an agency behind them, they look like hand drawn, which is really impressive. So I actually, after we had Fushi on, I downloaded the software that she said she used. Oh, did you? And tried to mess around with it. It's a lot of work. It was.
Did you try it out though? I tried it out as well.
I didn't try it out yet because for some reason, and I was in the middle of replacing my computer anyway, but it was very fuzzy. It made it I was able to make a character, but he was very, very blurry looking, and I was like, I don't know how to fix this. And I was like, well, this computer's going in the garbage in a week anyway, so I'll do it on the new one. So I'm going to re-download it now that I have a better setup and try to do it again. But yeah, I've been joking with the guys that I am eventually going to just one day appear on TNT as a VTuber.
Oh my god.
You should. You should.
Right?
And then just play it off.
Joseph Rutkin sums up VTubing perfectly. They say VTubers make it so your waifu can tell you they don't love you, and that's pretty much a perfect way to sum it up right there.
I don't think we can actually beat that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic.
All right.
All right, time for some more bad news. Not that it's too surprising considering it's almost April, but PAX East 2021 has officially been canceled. However, PAX Online is still set for July 15th to July 18th. So, not, again, too surprising, but hey, PAX West might still happen. We don't know for sure, but it's... I think we'll have it back by 2022. It feels that way.
I think so too. I was kind of always on the fence as to whether PAX East was gonna sneak through or not. I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't, so this isn't too surprising. But I am crossing my fingers that PAX West happens. We'll see. I think it's going to be really close. It's going to be on that line, but I think it's possible that it could. PAX Unplugged is also expected to run as planned, so we'll see. But yeah, I do think PAX East will probably be back next year, and hopefully in the usual March-ish timeline, and not... It would have been weird going to PAX East in June this year. That would have been weird anyway. It wouldn't have felt right.
So as someone from Boston, I was very hurt by this news.
Oh, no, yeah.
So, because I was the only one I planned on, and, like, the last convention before, like, the world was on fire was PAX East. So,
right.
Sad.
Yeah. And I can't believe how monumentally lucky I was, because I was at that show, and that was, right at the beginning of the whole pandemic, and nobody was wearing masks.
Yeah,
people were bumping elbows, but they weren't wearing masks, and I still can't believe I got out of that show without, catching it. I'm
getting
just very
sick.
lucky. Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know if one, I don't know if Amy actually got COVID. Two, I don't know if she got it from me, because I swear, February, when all this stuff was going down, I was going all over the place. I was in New York, Boston, San Francisco, and LA. Basically every single hotspot you could have, and I didn't catch anything. But then she got sick. I'm like, I hope it wasn't me.
Yeah.
But no, PAX East is a good time, because that's how I first met Kat. Just happened to be in the same group, and it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I miss it. I met so many people.
Know.
And
I miss
also,
it so much.
I think I just miss the, community around conventions anyway. Like, it's hitting hard this year, I think. It's been too long.
Yeah.
It really has. And I know so many of us on YouTubers and content creators, we all miss, or the vast majority of us, I think, miss that experience, miss the convention experience, not only catching up with our developer friends in the game industry, but also each other. And just hanging out and having dinner and drinks and playing games and just hanging out and spending time together.
Absolutely.
And I just miss it so much. And hopefully PAX West can happen. That, I know as a Boston native, Kat, that wouldn't be quite as convenient for you. And I totally get that.
And I don't think I'd end up in... I don't think I'd end up in PAX West this year anyway, so...
Oh, you wouldn't? That makes sense.
I have a feeling no, just because it'd be really tricky, so...
All right, Steve, you and I are doing a two-man show then, if it happens.
I'm down. I don't give a fuck. I'm going.
Oh, same, man. Nothing will keep me from that convention if it actually does happen.
I could get shot in the airport terminal, and I'd be like, just stitch me up when I get to Seattle. I'll be fine.
Yeah. It's the same. And Ditto M asks, has GVG not met in person for over a year? No, we haven't.
No.
The last time I saw Derek was at PAX East 2020.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's been more than a year since then now. And we haven't even gotten to do our first show as a team yet.
The last time I saw
that hasn't happened yet.
Derek was E3 2019.
Right.
So it's been almost...
Oh, God, yeah, it's true.
It's been almost 2 years since I saw Derek.
And I think the last time I saw you was PAX West 2019, right, Steve?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're...
Oh, no.
It has to happen. We've gone almost 730 days.
I don't know if they're fully on the store yet, Rob, our man X, but obligatory GVG masks. Oh, we got them.
Yeah, my samples are on their way to me, and of course I'm going to wear my shirt on stream whenever it arrives, as well as my mask. Adam Davis, that is a great idea, and I think that's something we all want to do. TNT live as a panel. Ooh. Whenever the first show we can do in person together, we absolutely would love to do a TNT or
Yep.
GVG panel for sure.
My
be cool.
dream is to do what I've always wanted to do is have like a traveling show kit, so that we can just set up a live show like this wherever we are. Have the three of us, have a guest, have Brandon, who unfortunately is not here with us today, helping us out with the behind the scenes work on that, since I can't really run the show if I'm in the show and you can see everything around me. And just do like a bit of a different format. I think that would be a lot of fun, and that's something I've always dreamed about doing. I've also dreamed about streaming live from the show floor, which I have some ideas about, but that's a whole other technological mess. Real quick, I want to mention Kayed in the chat. One of our EPs mentioned that he got his COVID test today, and he's not feeling well, and he hopes it's just a cold. So hang in there, man. I hope
please.
that it is
Crossing our
just a
fingers
cold.
for you, man.
So keep us updated, please. I would definitely appreciate. I want to know you're okay. I want to know if you're not okay. Either way, well wishes your way, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yes, please let us know. Adam Davis says, wait, that would mean in-person Shake That Ash. I don't think the world is ready for in-person Shake That Ash.
I mean,
and I'm pretty sure Kat isn't ready for virtual Shake That Ash either. I'm not sure we should even go there yet.
A wide shot means that Ash could twerk, though. I'm just saying.
That is true.
I don't think anybody wants me to twerk, right? I think we're good on that.
Well, I guess it won't catch you off guard whenever it happens during the EP reading tonight, but let's go ahead and change subjects.
All right.
Bring up the next one. All right, so we already talked about it quite a bit before, but more specifically, Monster Hunter Rise is a huge hit globally. We not only love it, well, specifically Kat and Steve, but it is just massive. It has shipped 4 million units worldwide, according to Capcom, and all the physical versions are sold out in Japan, and there were huge lines in Hong Kong. It is a massive hit. And I'm not sure how that compares to World, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be either at that level or dang close.
Beyond, I think beyond.
Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's just, it's got more, I think, going for it. Like I said, like I prefer World's sort of like mechanics, I guess, but Rise is so beautiful that I don't even care that I have to get used to like this new play style like at all. It's so beautiful. They have so much in it. They have like all these kind of unique like interactions you can have with people. All of the monsters are really fun. A lot of them are hard. But like just the entire aesthetic of the game, the gameplay, like the things you can do, and like the charm of it is really nice. And I think World was missing a lot of the charm that older Monster Hunters had. And they kind of made it more of like a serious game, like, oh no, you have to go fight this dragon like in like this very serious fashion, whereas there's like a lot more of the fun kind of silly sing-songy stuff, like just puns everywhere, which I love. So it's great. And I don't know, I think this is just gonna do like leagues above World, believe it or not.
So I don't know how exactly if this is only like the States or whatnot. I can't get specifics on that. But VG Charts back in 2018 reported that Monster Hunter World sold an estimated 2.45 million units in its first week at retail. So Rise seems to be doing better. And it's only on Switch.
And it's interesting to me, Kat, to hear you say like the impression that Monster Hunter Rise has left on you, specifically when you said how beautiful it is, because you're ostensibly comparing a Switch game to a really good looking PS4 game, but just the art style and the vibe, I guess, of Rise has made Rise the more attractive game to you, which I find very interesting.
I think, graphically, I think it's probably not as good as World, I guess, especially if you have it on PC and like you've modded it and things like that, like to make it look super pretty. But in terms of like the actual environment that they have created, it's beautiful. Something that I find really nice too is that for the quests, when you go to hunt a monster, they have a ink illustration, kind of like a sumi painting of each monster that you fight.
Cool.
And I think that has like a lot of charm rather than just having like a random icon. They have like these hand-drawn like quests that people can do, and I think that's like the small things all added together just make it so wonderful, I think.
I mean, you had me at Sumi. Okami is one of my favorite games of all time, so you had me at Sumi right there.
Nice. One thing I want to point out, too, is that Rise really pushes the Switch hardware in incredible ways. I mean, it looks... I would say when you're playing it, like when you're actually like in a quest or running around town, it looks what I would consider to be standard Switch stuff. But when you actually go into cutscenes or you're talking to someone, it's like the level of fidelity goes dramatically up. And it honestly, in those moments, to me, looks indistinguishable from a PS4 game. Like, the character models are so detailed when you're just in, small one-on-one or cutscene scenarios. It looks really damn good. I don't know if either of you tried the demo, but you can see that literally in the title screen for the demo.
Wow.
Where you see one of the characters. I don't know if it's... is it Hinoa or Honoa? Like, that's the name of the twins.
Hinoa,
I don't know which one of the two it is, but yeah, she's singing, and I'm like, damn, this looks like ridiculous. And when you get into the game, it's every bit as good as the title screen would lead you to believe.
The music is great too.
Yeah, it has excellent music.
Oh, it's
right.
so good.
That perks my interest up. I'm a huge video game music guy, so that's
Ash,
interesting to know.
You have my account, so download it.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah,
Give
no,
it a
well,
shot.
that's true. I probably should at some point, but I'm also thinking I might just have to just get it and just you try to at least play with a few people and just try to, even if I don't play, ever play hundreds or tens of hours, still just to, enjoy it and be part of the moment and just try to get into Monster Hunter at least a little.
Yeah, Monster Hunter is one of those games
FOMO.
that I keep wanting to get into, but I feel like Rise is the first time where it's actually working. And I'm excited to see how that bears out over time, like if I keep going. I think when it's really going to click for me, though, is when I finally play it with someone else. Because I've been soloing this whole time just to try to get my feet under me and learn
100%.
the lay of the land. But I think when I finally hunt a big monster, I think that's when it'll really click. Because, it's been weird because, I'm going to play with Brandon, but I feel very embarrassed doing that because I'm like, I don't know how to play these games very well, and I don't want to hold him back. I don't want him to be
carried so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Same. I'm playing it and I'm enjoying it.
That's the thing. Having played some 14 and going through duties and whatnot, yeah, you get carried, but you learn those things and you feel yourself getting better. So you might feel like you're getting carried, but I think there is some enjoyment in those experienced players teaching you the ropes and like, okay, we're going to get him to this level of love that I have for the series. So I don't think you have to worry too much about that.
That's fair.
I think it feels less like you'll be carried because I have gone through this before too, as especially getting used to it. A lot of people who played the demo were like already prepared. But I think it'll feel more supportive and like a really good group of like, we're excited that you're playing with us.
Nice.
And we want you to keep going. So like, don't even worry. It's more like support while you are fighting things, which I think the Monster Hunter community can be really, really good. So with that,
so that's good to know.
Just some numbers here in terms of world, because it is Capcom's best-selling title of all time. As of it reached that point by exceeding. It's also the first game in Capcom's history to exceed 15 million units shipped. According to Odddoodle, that is now up to 16.8, I believe.
Wow!
So it is massive amounts of sales, and Monster Hunter has become the second biggest franchise for Capcom, behind in terms of lifetime sales, but second only to Resident Evil, and just jumped ahead of Street Fighter. So. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
One thing that I want to point out, too, that Brandon Bovia mentioned in our chat earlier is that this game is poised to just explode in Japan. Monster Hunter, has its roots in being a portable series. And so being on the Switch...
that's really where it took off.
Yeah, having it on the Switch, which is the best portable console in the world... and people being able to get home and actually throw it on their TV for that more immersive experience in Japan specifically will do insanely well. I definitely see Rise surpassing World. I mean, it has.
I think so ultimately.
That
I
kind
agree,
of
yep.
it has that ability to draw people like me in, people who have been on the fence and who haven't dipped their feet fully in. I'm definitely feeling pulled in by this game, and I think that that combined with just the fact that it's a new portable Monster Hunter that makes zero compromises is gonna just be huge for this thing. That and Nintendo is obviously killing it in Japan right now, so it's on the most popular console of the moment, and it's portable. Like, all the stars are kind of aligning perfectly for this one to surpass its predecessors.
It could have that Animal Crossing like aspect where everybody's just sort of talking about it, waiting for the next big release, and it's just like, well, there's so much word of mouth. I gotta check out this game.
Yeah.
Right. So. And on top of all that, like Brandon Bovey and a couple others in the chat are talking about how, whereas Monster Hunter Worlds Online was a bit complicated and a little confusing to get into, apparently Monster Hunter Rises Online is much simpler and easier to, just to jump right in, which is, I think, huge, especially with that handheld format, right, that the Switch also has. So I think there's a lot going in this game's favor for, as Steve said, to it just absolutely explode in Japan. Now, that said, I do have a question for you, Kat, because Steve and I have talked before about how we feel that maybe the more single-player, story-driven experience that Monster Hunter Stories 2 seems to be offering when it comes out might be more up our alley. We're not sure, but how do you feel about Monster Hunter Stories 2? Are you excited about that as well?
I am. I think it's cute.
Okay.
So it's like on a superficial level, I'm like, this is adorable and I'm going to get it. But I think that, so Monster Hunter Stories, I think, has like all the charm that the older Monster Hunter, like 3U and 4U and even like Freedom Unite and stuff had. And they kept that in these games, so I really like it because it kind of gives me that sort of experience that I used to have with these old games. Okay. It's like a nostalgia thing for me, for sure.
Gotcha.
But I definitely like it, but I think my reasons for playing are very simplistic. It's very like, this is cute, and I'm gonna do it. So.
Hey, whatever. Gotcha. Every reason works.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Don't think we're going to dwell on this one too much, but it's worth pointing out. So, Ratchet Clank 2016 will be playable in 60 FPS on PS5 after a new update coming in April. And every one of you who own a PS4 or PS5 should have this game by now, because it was free.
Right.
So you should have picked it up. Like, not PS Plus free, just free. Get it.
And this actually makes me want to go back and check it out. Like,
because I remember that being a bit of a point of contention. I think people are upset it wasn't 60 FPS. So I think that's going to help. Maybe it's turn around a bit, and that's cool. I mean,
well, with the incredible amount of things exploding on the screen at any given moment in that game, it's not surprising that it wasn't 60 FPS. But it's also because of that even though I beat the game on PS4, I really liked it. I want to go back and just behold it in 60 FPS because that's just going to be beautiful to look at, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I love that Sony is offering all these free games. I mean, it's funny, on one hand, we're upset with them for not letting us buy games, and then we're happy with them for giving us games for free. I
can be both.
Yeah, exactly.
I contain multitudes. I can be...
I'm like that onion.
But, I think that this is... objectively a cool thing. You get the game for free, and it gets a cool update to run at a higher frame rate. This will probably be what I need to finish this game. I didn't dislike it, but it was just one of those ones where, it passed me by, and then there was no real reason to revisit it once the world had moved on. But now at least there's an update that I can check out.
It's a fine game that is a lot of fun to play, but it's a weird thing of being a half remake, half movie tie-in. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, well, to be fair, when I say I really enjoyed it, that I'm not comparing it to the original version. I'm just enjoying it, or I played it on its own in a vacuum. I sadly didn't get to play the original version of the first game, but I'm sure that's better. But, on its own, I did enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Brandon Bovia, you're speaking my language, man. Next up, Horizon. Please. Please, good. I want a PS5 performance update for Horizon.
If they could manage to do that before I start streaming Horizon, I'd be really grateful.
Right? I want to play that. Oh, yeah.
I have lived in the future that you're dreaming of, and it is good. My PC can run Horizon at 4K 60 FPS, and God damn, it is gorgeous.
Nice.
That must be incredible.
It
must be
truly
amazing.
is. The thing that sucks, though, is, I don't hook my PC up to my TV, so I play on my 4K monitor right here in front of me, and it's just not the same. I would still take the 30 FPS on my nice, gaming TV, versus sitting at my desk and playing that game. So, 4K 60 FPS, though, damn. It's good stuff. I really, really want that for this game. If not, hopefully, Horizon Forbidden West is 4K 60. A man can hope.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I'll even take, I'll take 4K 30, 1080p 60, but of course, 4K 60 would be the dream.
Yeah,
right?
They got 4K 60 with Miles Morales by turning down some of the settings. So I'd be okay with that too. I don't need ray tracing if I can get 60 FPS, or maybe I do need, I don't know. Tell me what I need, Sony. Tell me how I'm supposed to play this game. I'll play it however you tell me to.
Exactly.
They're blindfolded with your feet. No other options.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our last topic of the day. And Limited Run Games has announced that Doom the Classics Collection is coming to PS4 and Switch. Basically, it's a way to have a physical version of Doom, Doom 2, and Doom 3. I need to see how much it actually costs, though, because these Doom games go on sale a lot for $2. So I don't know how much the physical version is going to cost, but it does include a lot of extras, including a shadow box. Let's see here.
So the special edition is $79.99, and the collector's edition is a whopping $129.99.
Yeah, no.
Look, but I don't. Man. They don't list what the price is for just the regular edition, which seems really odd.
I mean, special edition does come with a reprint of the 96 16-page Doom comic, which I've seen a review of, and it is hilarious how. I think that's where Rip and Tear came from.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Show
really?
me your guts, I think he says.
It's just ridiculous.
Something weird.
I love what Limited Run Games does. I love what they stand for. I love what they do. But those prices, man. And it's those prices consistently that have always kind of stopped me from really supporting them wholeheartedly. I want to go buy all these physical editions. I do, but not for those prices. It's just a little too high for me.
I would probably jump in on the standard edition of this for $30 or $40 maybe. Sure. I feel like that's an okay price for 3 games. However, I will say that collector's edition, and this is dumb, but this is just me. It has a USB floppy disk for Doom.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's pretty cool.
God damn it, that's really cool. I like that, but not $80 worth of liking it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, too, that Doom, while I grew up with it, and it is a part of my childhood because my dad was a PC gamer when I was a kid, so obviously we had Doom, because I think PCs just come pre-installed with it now. But I don't have an attachment to the franchise in the same way I do other games he played when I was a kid. So to me, this is not oh God, I don't feel like a strong pull to get this. But I did gladly pay them $130 for their No More Heroes collection that they did last week. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm getting it in August. I guess that's fine. But, that's the one thing I didn't realize. When you buy these, they're not even produced yet. So they haven't started making them. And that's a change, I guess, over the years. Because it used to be they would make X number of copies and then you could buy from that stock that they had created, and that was it. Now,
that's weird.
They take orders, and they make just enough to cover their orders, and then that's it.
Right.
I guess they had a bit too much overhead.
I'm like, I live in a world where I can buy something on Amazon, and it shows up while I'm sleeping. I'm not used to things taking 5 months to show up anymore.
Yeah.
But this one's tricky for me because I own all 3 of these games, and I think I paid maybe $10 for the entire collection.
That's the thing,
the
right?
Total of all 3.
Yeah. See, the thing for me is the only thing that draws me to this is the box art, and that's only because I remember my dad having the PC box with that exact art on the cover, and I was like, oh man, that would be a cool homage to my dad. I'm sure he'd chuckle if I sent him a picture of it, but I don't know, man. Like you said, Derek, these games are $2-3 most of the time on the eShop.
They go on sale a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need them in physical form for anything more than what I'd pay on the eShop for them.
Joseph Rutkin,
Right.
it took me a year and a half to get the limited run games copy of Celeste.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
I gotta
See,
say,
I don't know that that's worth it, especially if you're
No.
paying the price and then also waiting a year and a half. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I am a fickle creature. If I have to wait more than a couple months to get something, I will likely forget about it, and then when it does show up, I'll be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Oh yeah.
I think it's just like, as much as I love the idea of and I love buying games physically. I love having those boxes, but I will say the Switch has done a lot more than any other console in terms of kind of pulling me toward digital. And as much as I do want to own some of this stuff physically, there is a limit to how much I'm willing to pay for it. And it's not even because this is Doom. I'm not a big Doom fan, but like a couple of years ago, I Am 8-Bit did a repro SNES card of Mega Man X. Really cool, right? It was $100 though. It was like $100. I'm not gonna pay $100 for a repro cart of Mega Man X. I'm just not gonna do it, and that's Mega Man. So if I'm not gonna do it for that, and that wasn't
why
even
would
like
you
a
do it for
collector's
this?
edition.
Yeah.
It didn't come with anything
Yep.
but the cart.
It was like
And
blue,
that's just
right?
absurd. It was like blue, and it was cool looking.
Yeah.
$100 cool looking.
I went through
No.
the same experience. Mega Man X is one of my favorite SNES games, and I have
Yeah.
an analog, Super NT down here, so I could even play it on my TV with no issue. But I was like, man, that's a high price. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
pay that for an original cart. I wouldn't pay that for and to be fair, when I say that, I mean an original cart, like box and manual. Like
Yeah,
in
I was
good
gonna
shape.
say I just
Exactly.
looked it up. I was curious what it is on Amazon for just the original cartridge, because I figured it's going to be cartridge only for the most part. And you can get Mega Man X original cartridge for about $25 on Amazon.
Yeah, I would.
not with the box, right?
No, not with
Just
the box,
cartridge.
but
Okay,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
cartridge.
Yeah, when I say
still, yeah.
I drop $100, I mean, because that at least has history behind it. It had to survive like the last 30 years in
Yeah.
decent
Right.
shape. Like that's worth paying a premium for. But when I see, well, not worth paying a premium for, but it's what I would expect to pay. But when I see somebody just saying like, "Hey, we ran some brand new carts," and they want that same price, I'm like,
That's weird. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I could find one of these on someone's Etsy shop for half the price.
You could.
Right.
Very likely.
I have to say, the irony is not lost on me that Microsoft literally just bought Bethesda, and yet this is only available for PS4 and Switch.
Yeah,
That's weird, man. That's
That's a good point. I wonder if this deal was made before, and that's why they
Might
have
have
to
been.
honor
It's
it.
weird, right?
And I
Yeah.
wonder if this will become like a weird like collector's item because
Probably.
it'll
I
never
would say
happen
so.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Maybe.
thinking.
Well, with that, I believe we've covered all the major headlines from today's news. But before we sign off, Kat, where can everybody find you at?
Hi. I'm KuroSixx Plays on Twitter. It is KuroSixx Plays. I'm not gonna spell that out for you. I do have a YouTube channel, but I have like no uploads because I'm revamping it, so don't go look at that one. And I also stream on Twitch at the same name as well. Yeah, so you can find me there.
And I believe you also have an art store as well, correct?
I do, which is just KuroSixx. So .com and at Twitter. So yeah,
Definitely
it out.
check out. Yeah, check out both those. It's good work. I've seen it. So
Nice.
definitely worth taking a look at. And thank you for being such a lovely guest.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. But we also have to give a special thanks to all of our patrons, big and small, and especially those at the producer tier for helping to make this show happen. In addition, a massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those fine folks include, oh crap, I forgot to bring up the doc.
Uh-oh. I'm dancing too early. Why am I even dancing?
Yeah,
right
you
now?
really are. Hold
You're
on.
getting a free extra few
Come on,
seconds.
Chrome. Oh, God. Why is it being so slow? This is
Oh man,
awkward.
I'm not going to have enough energy to get through all this.
Nope,
if I just
you're
keep
done.
going.
All right, here we go. Big thanks to Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Rman X, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Floating Mew, Echo Carroll, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Nick Waterman, Kitty Kong Fax, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, Macalau, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Shadow the Cat, Alicia, Azran127, Ken Roulette 09, Jake Pelka, Geller, Shiny Turkey, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, congrats on your new show, Charles Zaz, Douglas Chomix, Andrew Medeiros, RMM, Phantom 23, Scott Barber, Patrick Harrison, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzy Wighoid, Loyal Dingo, Flaming Highwayman, Sean Garrett, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Master Lynx, Sean Davis, Deaneth, Jackson Jordan, Michael McCall, Matthew Wong, Ashish Joshi, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Hoobie, Wolf X Blake and Moon Macarons, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Synchro Lord, Brainchild, Rosa Bowling.
Hi, Mom.
The Flying Tacos, Scuff 196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Chip Damage Mike, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Wheezy Penguin, and newcomer, first time I read this name, so I'm not sure, Anthony Wilson Jr. Thank you so much. Actually, I don't think it's brand new, but the first time I read it, so yay.
New as of last episode.
That's right. So that's why it's the first time I read it. Thank you all so much. Really does mean the world. And remember that you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can watch today's News Tonight live for as little as $5 a month. So thank you all so much for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like these. And until next time, good night and good vibes.
Bye everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.